Good morning, everybody. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Great to see you again. Welcome back to Monday mornings or Monday afternoons or middle of the night, depending on where you are. Good morning to everybody in Facebook. We're just going Facebook Live, so welcome to you guys. If you want to join us in the Zoom room, just click on the link and register, and then you can jump in and be with us. This morning we have two very special guests, because one is never enough. And California is very fortunate at the moment. We have the London Symphony in our state, and the London Symphony will be in Los Angeles later on today. But at the moment, they're up in San Francisco. And so this morning, we are very, very fortunate to have as our special guests Tim Jones as the principal horn of the London Symphony.
Hello, everybody.
And Jonathan Maloney, who is the new fourth horn of the LSO. Congratulations.
Hi, thanks.
Wonderful. So just as people are coming in, if you're new to the sessions, fantastic, welcome. Please let us know where you're coming in from. It's always nice to hear from all over the world where people are joining us from. And even if you're an old timer and you've been here since the beginning, since 2020, let us know where you're calling in from. We love to see you guys on camera. As I said before, we've spent an enormous amount of money on the filter that makes you look like movie stars. So please put your camera on. Even Tim Jones looks good this morning. That's how.
Yeah,
it's so different in the room.
For those of you who are new to Invested Musician and the sessions, I'm Rupal. I'm one of the co-founders along with Andrew. And, Invested Musician is all about helping individuals move and advance in their careers, both musically and also financially. So we founded this during the pandemic when, the need for flexibility and to adapt to changing conditions in the industry was really important. And we've been really honored and thrilled to be able to work with so many of you already to date. But, we love doing these sessions with the community and connecting with everybody from not only in the US, but all around the world. So welcome.
Awesome. So good morning, Tim and Jonathan.
Hi, man.
Morning.
Great to have you here. All right. So Tim, you got the schedule of the LSO and the way that the orchestra operates is quite different than what we have over here. And I'd imagine, you guys are playing on the road a lot and movie sessions and rehearsals and concerts. So what does your warm up look like?
Yeah, interesting that you just highlighted the different schedules that we have, because we have to, we're not only doing concerts, as you said, we're doing a huge variety of film work, light music session work. So a lot of the time, the warm up is based around, certainly my warm up is how to cram in as much relevant practice in the shortest amount of time possible, because we just don't have time. And often, as you know, Andrew, you're doing films, some of them, you might sit there for 6 hours a day, and we're playing, in English speak, we're just playing minims, but it's playing quarter notes all day. You're not actually playing very much. So the only real quality playing we're doing is in the warm up. So I view the warm up as being probably, I'm certainly at the school where the warm up is some of the most important aspects of horn playing, full stop. And in my warm-up, actually, the most interesting thing about my warm-up or my views on warm-up is firstly, having seen some of the stuff that you yourself have put out for people, the first thing that comes to mind is our use of the B-flat horn, because there's not a lot of, most of my warm-up is on the B-flat horn. It just highlights a fundamental difference between this side of the pond and the other side of the pond, in the fact that certainly our playing, and a lot of European playing these days, is based predominantly around playing the B flat horn, which I think is an interesting thing for all the people listening on this who are in America, where it seems that the F horn, a lot of the warm-up exercises that I've seen you've put out yourself, or Gail stuff, it's predominantly F horn, and that's just really interesting for us because, you know, we don't use a lot of F horn here anymore, and practice not exclusively, but a lot on the B flat horn, which was a very interesting point. But going specifically to the warm-up, better put a mute in so people can hear. But my warm-up space has come from, the history of my warm-up comes from my influences from a very famous horn player called Eric Terwilliger, who I sat next to when I was young. And of course, and the people that don't know, he was the sort of great disciple of the Farkas warm-up. So I've used variations upon the Farkas warm-up, but exclusively on the B flat horn. So, and particularly the arpeggios, which is in there. And I sent out some music. Did I title this just on top of my case? Up on there.
Yeah. So we have, Dana is going to put in the chat some of Tim's warm-up exercises for us to play along with. And
so the one that I just want to highlight now, which is the one that I sent, which was handwritten out. It was handwritten, and it's just got a metronome marking at the top of 340. Funny enough, I don't know if people can see that up on screen.
So
but
Dana will stick that in the chat when she gets hold of it, and then and people will be able to access that.
Yeah. So basically, it's that's it. There, that's the main part of it. It's self-explanatory. The 340 metronome marking is up the top there because it goes very fast. But it is on the B flat horn. It's something like, if I play a bit of it, let's see it myself now. Bit like that's my first notes of the day. I haven't played anything yet, so that's how fast that is. But that's where I am at it now. That's the first exercise. The second exercise is the same speed. And the last one is the same speed again. So I do that in all the keys. So that's A flat, do A, B flat, B natural C, obviously, and then that's legato. Then I do them all tongued. That's about a 10-minute exercise for me. And that is just really a variation on the Farkas warm-up, which is obviously a lot slower. But to play it at that speed, it's taken me quite a few years to learn it like that. So it can go much slower, but you'll have to take breaths. But that's the basis. That little exercise there is the basis of my warm-up, with a couple of pre-warm-ups thrown in.
So Tim, can you give us like a nice easy one for everyone to get going on?
Yeah. Okay. So the pre-warm-ups are, which I didn't send out, it's just this exercise. So again, it's all on, as much as I can do on the B flat horn. It's this exercise.
So Tim, can you give us a demo, and then we'll play back, and then we can work our way down.
Okay, so the demo of this is just it's quintuplets. Actually, it's starting on a middle C. It's quintuplets going down to a G. So it's da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da da. That's all that is. So it's this. So that's, yeah, I can't hear you, Andrew. Can't hear you, Andrew.
I know, that was the design. No,
Cheating. That is cheating.
your turn next. Go down the next iteration.
Yeah, so then that's from C. Then so obviously B natural. I go down as far as goes down as far as I can manage on that day, and it might be down to a fundamental C.
Can you just take us down, like just go down half a step as you normally do, and we'll just copy you.
Sorry, that's that one. Somebody's come into the room. That's fine.
And the next one?
And the next one. Okay. Sorry. So please just do, you've got to do your thing. Yeah, I'm sorry for the background noise. We're just in the business suite and somebody has to use the printer. That's not the problem. That's okay. So, and then from G here, this is a G now. Okay, and then I'll just skip a couple. We go down to low C, which is our this is our low C. John, you've got to do something in a minute.
I've got to do something here.
Try. Okay, and that just continues down until I land up playing, which would be the low F down to the fundamental C on the B flat horn. As far as as low as it's just as low as you can go, actually.
We'd already passed that point for me, Tim.
Oh, right, okay, sorry, I can't hear you. So, and then so that's just the first exercise, and the next exercise is exactly the same, just that I'm going up as high as I feel comfortable first thing in the morning, and that cap.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it now that you've called it.
Okay, so this is C sharp. That's C sharp. D. Okay. And at this point, it's probably worth saying to everybody what I'm actually thinking about. It is just totally for me about airflow, getting the air through the horn to get this vibrating. And also one of the other things I think about, I talk to my students a lot about, is making sure that this embouchure is in balance, even when we're playing that. So, so the contact point between the top and the bottom lip is properly in balance. So we're not trying to focus on the top lip or the bottom lip. It's just not equal pressure, but it's just got to be the right tension here. Because often we play stuff, I sometimes do, and we're not actually on the right embouchure for any one note. We can play quite well on embouchures that are sort of like 75% in the right place. We can play quite well like that. So that's what I'm focusing on: airflow, making sure I'm on the right embouchure, and getting a nice. I talk a lot about the tension in the embouchure, a balanced tension in the embouchure, so it's not favouring either one or top or bottom lip. So
great. Terrific, thanks, Tim. Yeah, I think one of the things that comes to mind with this is, so Tim talks a lot about, they in London, and Tim in particular plays a lot on the B flat horn. Over here, we tend to probably start more on the F horn, but the important thing is like being able to do both, I think.
Yeah.
And being able to be flexible. So these exercises are really great to mix up, I think, for, if you're used to playing in a certain register only on the F horn, practice on the B flat horn so you've got that flexibility, and vice versa. So there are often times in orchestras where just fingering on a different horn actually just works better intonation wise, or helps with the coordination or something like this. So getting a good mix of those things is great. But these are great ideas. And for those people who've been to the warm-ups before, we actually have one of my warm-ups is very similar chromatic exercise to the one that Tim just demonstrated. So yeah, and I'm sure
in the spirit of kind of reconciling maybe these two things, one of the first things I tend to do in the day comes from Nigel Black, who's formerly now of the Philharmonia. But one of the first things that he does and that I do is simply to play a fourth line F. This is on the second line of this other handwritten sheet that I sent out. And you simply...
Dana will put that up for us.
Terrific. And all it is it's very, very simple. Yeah, that's the one. So the second line on the right-hand side. And all you do is you just hold a long F and you transition between the B flat fingering on open and the F1 fingering on one. And you try and reconcile those two notes so that they have the same fullness and the same quality, despite being on different sides of the instrument. And the idea being that you use that resistance to sort of form a kind of concept of sound for the day. And so that's one of the first things I do. Like so. And so on. And again, I mean, what I've written down here, these are all very, very, very basic things. Because I'm sort of very much of the mentality that a warm-up is a psychological thing first and foremost, for breathing and for your mindset. Because I spent a long time, I think, as a student playing very complicated warm-ups and doing elaborate sort of gymnastic exercises. And they were, you know, they're very good in some ways, but I found that they were at their absolute best towards the end, where I'd sort of slipped into a kind of mindless element. And when I say mindless, I mean it was quite a meditative quality. And I thought, and that's a sort of, and you end up concentrating and focusing on things that aren't the notes. I think I found myself certainly getting quite involved in sort of in the fingering side of things, and that was great. But I think you can achieve the same kind of level of readiness for the day by doing much simpler things, but with a much greater kind of attention to the core aspects of it. Much like Tim was saying with this chromatic thing, is born of the same thing. It's about airflow, and it's about having a kind of concept of sound. So the first thing I do is a bit of mouthpiece buzzing, but even before that, I more or less force myself to sit for however long it takes and come up with some kind of concept for the day in terms of what I want to sound like and how I want to play. Because I think just launching into it and throwing yourself to the mercy of how you feel and where you are and things is difficult. And it's very difficult to kind of abstractly decide whether or not something is good or bad beyond just accuracy of notes. And so for me, coming up with a good concept of what I want to sound like, and therefore having a comparison when I start playing, I think is a really important thing. And so these exercises are all very simple, but they're with the idea of just honing in on the quality of sound, and that, yeah, we'll get to that. Quality of sound and the approach.
So this is awesome. So we love to along these lines, we love to hear people play and then compare our sound and try and make it sound great. So I got two questions. One, can you guys just check that you're on original sound? Your original sound is on, because we're getting a little bit cutting out. It's
how do we do that? Do you know how to do that?
In the top left corner, there should be a little thing that says original sound. Maybe. If not, we'll just deal with it. Otherwise, you can go into the audio settings.
Maybe something here.
And while those guys are mucking around with that, I'm gonna demonstrate. We're gonna do a repeated note scale that those of us who are here regularly are familiar with, and they're gonna hopefully fix their sound. Fix this out. All right. I'm going to come back to you guys in a second, and then we're going to do some warming up with Jonathan and Tim. But this is repeated note pattern. Repeated note scales. Very simple. And again, along the lines of what Tim's talking about, try and experiment this one with different fingering. Sometimes maybe you just play all F horn, sometimes all B flat horn, sometimes a combination. But don't get comfortable in doing it only one way. Oh, and we're in A flat, right? It's always great to witness technological challenges live in Zoom. It's very exciting. Let's keep going down. We go to concert C. Okay, so as you can tell, I've been practicing F sharp major non-stop for the last 2 years, and actually no one even is surprised when I get it almost right. It's amazing, because 2 years ago, not so good. How are we doing, boys? 1 minute. We're working our way there. So let's jump to some flexibility. This is some Alan Mann flexibilities. We touched on a few last week. We're going to expand on them this week. These are really good ones to to get us again moving across different horns, B flat horn and F horn, and really simple. Again, what Tim's talking about moving the airstream, good airflow, and then Jonathan talking about concept of sound. All of these things are really important to make sure that we add into this process. So they're on the phone now. They're on the phone to IT support. This is fantastic. Awesome. So there are a bunch of Alan Mann flexibilities, and they are in the warm-up packet, I believe. All right, I think, fingers crossed, back to the boys. Okay, let's see how this goes. So Jonathan, if you can give us one of your exercises, and we'll go backwards and forwards with the group, and just tell us what to think about.
There we go. Okay,
Done.
can we be heard? This is fine. Great. Sorted. So I think now, if we go to the third line here, it might look a little cryptic based on how I've written it, but it's quite straightforward. You usually do it as one long exercise, but
Play it first.
yeah. So I would do it like this, and this is a Jeff Bryant exercise, and it's about getting a quality of airflow and of beautiful slurs. And the principle, if you're doing it by yourself and you have time, is that if you have a sort of an unclean slur or a slur that you're not happy with in terms of its quality, you go back and repeat that. So it's something like this. Breathing where you need to, of course.
Okay, guys, can you just check that you've got the original sound on?
Yeah, we have.
Oh.
Or can you, whatever it is, can you do the opposite?
Let's have a quick look. I think we did have it a second ago. Let's just see.
You got out of the meeting. You got going into the
that's
other.
right. That's right. I don't know how we did that before. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Let's just double check that we've done that. Yeah, use original audio should be fine.
Okay.
We want to take. You want to take this off of that, out of original sound.
Whatever you have, just do the opposite.
Okay, get it off.
Okay.
How's that?
Well, we won't know until he starts playing.
Okay. I think it's long notes.
Sounds great. Perfection. Okay, can you try it again, Jonathan?
Yeah.
That's just my playing, you see. Nothing to do with the sound quality.
Okay. Is that good?
It'll have to do, but that's great. Can we try it on this side?
Please.
So this is the third line, so we're just expanding in semitones.
Kind of thing.
Sometimes you just play a bit louder, but in this room it's a bit.
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? Okay, and then if we're I think maybe if I go a little faster, the noise cancelling won't have time to catch up. So I'll just try that. But continuing on up.
Great.
And so then we do the same thing again, going down from the C. And it might be helpful to play this one a little bit faster, even still, just because otherwise it can get a little too tiring for maybe what you want for a warm up.
Terrific.
Great. The one immediately below it then is the same exercise, but with a repeated, you reiterate the note that you're on. And the aim here is to get in it as soft a tongue as possible. And I think like lots of these exercises, again, it's not so much about the physical workout. It's about drawing attention to the small things. In this case, a very, very soft tongue. I always found that the strange thing was that after doing exercises like these, I seem to feel stronger, which obviously is impossible because you're more tired and there's no way you can build muscle that fast, obviously. And yet somehow the product was immediately available. And so I think it's more about drawing attention and increasing your kind of perception of the small muscles and of the small things going on. So it's something like this anyway. And that kind of thing. I suspect it's lost in this slightly problematic audio thing, but you're just trying to introduce a very soft tongue between each note.
Play small.
I think that's probably going to get it.
Louder.
to the C again.
Great. Yeah, terrific.
Yeah. And the things that are following that, I would say, fall outside of the category of warm-up for me, but start getting into sort of exercises, specific exercises of things. So just because I don't want to leave you, because it's a little bit cryptic and a little bit hard to understand, the next exercise comes from my old teacher in Manchester, a guy called Julian Plummer of the Halley Orchestra. And it's fantastic for, again, like I say, increasing the sensitivity, although it's a little bit, it takes a little while. It takes about 10 minutes to do it yourself. But basically, it's a simple case of doing this sort of shape where you're gradually expanding upwards and downwards, one note at a time, but you're holding each note for about 25 seconds. So you set a metronome for 60 beats per minute, and you hold it for 25 beats, and then you take 5 beats off, and then you do the same thing with the semitone above. And obviously, that's not particularly appropriate for this session, but I find that's something that's really, really helpful for production and obviously for strength, because it's fantastic. And you're trying to do it at as low a dynamic really as possible. Yeah, play it. Anyway, the one after this is another one from Jeff Bryant, which is fantastic, and it's where you pick a note, a comfortable note, let's say, or a sort of middle high register note, and you establish that first of all, and then you very, very, very softly re-articulate it, and you gradually increase the distance between the articulations until you can almost stop the note entirely and then re-enter in the note. And this is to start a very soft production. So something like this. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to make the distance between the tongue, the travel distance in the tongue, as small as possible to get a very, very, very soft articulation, and to sort of simulate the feeling of starting a fresh note while at the same time, not actually taking it off your face. It's a speedy way of working on first notes, I think. And then finally, this last one of the group is it's an arpeggio exercise, which you play as quietly, as softly as you possibly can, with no articulation, and you leave quite a substantial gap between everything. Okay, so it goes like this. I'll play it louder for the tape. Yeah, air attack. Exactly, air attack. But attack may be being the wrong word here. It's very much a soft approach. And so on, and you continue up to the C. Sorry, to the
Jonathan,
yes.
can we do this one in answer to you? So like you'll play a note, and in between we'll fit it in, and then.
Very good. Okay, we'll just do a little. I'll do the first one. But with the right note.
Great, thank you, Jonathan. This brings in to me in mind that, like, what both of you are talking about is, you know, setting up things that you're going to need later on, and being really clear about organizing, you know, how you want to have your mechanism working, all of the elements that you're going to need when you go into a recording session after sitting there for 6 hours not playing a note.
I think that's exactly right. That's what Tim and I were talking about. Is that this is all stuff that's relevant to orchestra. This is designed for an orchestral sort of approach, in that these are things that you routinely have to do that are kind of abstract, in that, you know, this exact thing will come up in every piece, in every kind of context, in every genre, all this stuff, and it sets you up for sort of anything that you could come across.
I mean, one of the other easier exercises that just for everybody I do, and we can do a little bit of it online, is just actually playing some scales. Not very difficult scales. Let's say a G major for everybody. And I practice this little exercise. This any fingerings you like. This G major. So just tell everybody about that exercise. In the legato version of it, one thing we do have to think about, which we don't often think about because it's all often about the air, is actually valve speed, making sure the actual valves do go down at the right speed and at the right time. It sounds very simple, but often people are actually not putting the valves down at the right speed, so we don't get very even legato. And then in the staccato version of it, I'm always trying to practice it just the wrong side of comfortable, because often we do staccato and if it'll only be as short as we feel comfortable with. So in order to try and keep on top of staccato, I'm just trying to play them just wherever it is on the day, just a little bit where it's a little bit too short to be comfortable. So the next one will obviously A flat major. We'll do A major. Actually, just to prove that I can do it, I'll play the F form this time. Just once, the only time in the whole session. So. And then just one other tip for everybody with the legato stuff. We do have to, when we're playing legato, we actually don't think much about moving the embouchure at all. But, even, let's do B flat from B flat now. I play it that slow because just going from B flat to C to C to D, there is a slight, obviously there is a slight change on the embouchure, but sometimes we just don't think about it. The embouchure does have to change and to get all the overtones on each note. Otherwise, we're only often you hear people, the sound gets thinner as they go up, and it's partly because we're not actually on the right embouchure, not changing the embouchure enough. So just we'll play that again at the right speed, but think about making sure that we're changing the embouchure.
Great. Terrific, Tim. That's, some really great ideas there. And,
I think it'd be, as a low horn, okay, I'm just going to say there's one thing I think it's worth addressing here, and I think it's something my predecessor, Jonathan Lipson, would also draw attention to, which is that we should all practice low hand stopping every single day, because it's a fantastic troubleshooter and exercise, and a lot of people struggle to get sort of volume and articulation in that register. And so I've written at the very bottom of this sheet, Farkas page 60 and 61, and we'll just do the sort of the first exercise.
Go on, man. You're not
which is
get
just
me.
I know Tim does this every single day, but it's very, very helpful. I know, terrific thing, but there's just
before we jump to that, we're going to do that in a second. But I need to get Sammy to get an opportunity to put the poll in. So we are going to run in a couple of weeks. So it's next Tuesday. We're starting our challenge, and what we want from you guys is in the Zoom room, and if you can get hold of this in Facebook, that will be also great. Let us know from the poll what you want the topic of the challenge to be. Do you want it to be low register? Do you want it to be high register? Do you want it to be mental training? Do you want it to be audition preparation, practice planning, or anything that's in the poll? We would love to hear from you. Sammy's going to fix the permissions on the sheet, and let us know what you want the challenge to be. It's going to be a 5-day challenge. Obviously, we want as many people as possible to be involved in this. And the design of the challenge is to help your practice, help your planning, help your development as musicians. So also, if you want to put it in the chat, let us know that way. But that's what it looks like. So breathing and blowing, using your voice, musical maturity, practice planning, mental training, audition preparation, excerpts, sound production, a whole variety of stuff. We'd love to hear from you about that. All right, now without any more hesitation, Jonathan stopping with original sound on. Okay.
Yeah, or something like that. Let's see. And it's just 6 repeating notes, increasing in volume. And I think, like all good exercises, it's worth doing hand stops as well, just because I think it's wholly good. It's wholly good. But starting in the middle C and going downwards, we won't go too far with it. Yes, on the outside.
I don't hear Tim doing it.
Well, see, the profession. See, I think all 4 horns do it to me. I mean, those people can see on the camera, but I have this sort of pretend that I have this excuse about hand stopping because I've got 3 or 4 screws actually holding my hand together from an accident I had years ago. So hand stopping for me is really, really difficult. But the big excuse is that, and this is owning up online now, is that my hand stopping was terrible before I broke my hand. But now I have an excuse, but I don't. That's my secret. The secret's out that I've got terrible hand stopping, and it's nothing to do with having pins in my hand.
But it's something worth cultivating. You can practice accepts. You can do Shostakovich 5 hand stopped is a good barometer for getting those chops, and you'll find that you can play incredibly loud with perfect immediacy, with wonderful variety of color and texture much more easily if you could in that register. So it's a real help, I find.
Yeah, it is. We talked about this actually the last couple of weeks as well in the warm-ups for people who are here, and it is a great hack for quickly developing your low register. I find as someone who spends a lot of time in the upper register, if I don't do hand stopping in the low register, my middle low register just evaporates overnight pretty much. So it's something that, you know, I have a confession. I'm very good at hand stopping. My hand is perfect, is the perfect shape. So I'm lucky. So Tim, if you need a hand, I can give you a lesson.
Actually, Andrew, what's about your view about because I've only ever really played large bore horns, but you're playing a 103. I mean, does the actual size of the bell, you know, like for people who are playing Con 8D large bell horns? That's a question from me to the chat, really. I mean, is there a big difference in hand stopping on different size bore of horn?
Yeah, that's a great question. If anyone's got any feedback on that, that's awesome. I think one of the things with hand stopping that I've discovered is that with a lot of students, they think that shoving your hand as far in the bell as possible is going to make it work, and it's almost the opposite. The idea for me for hand stopping is that you want to think of it like a suction cup, and so just creating the seal is more important than trying to shove your hand, you know, as deep into the bell as possible.
Yeah.
So it is difficult. I mean, you've got to sort of figure out, everyone's hand shape is different, and Tim's obviously is full of half full of metal, so that probably doesn't help him at all. But if you can think of like using the paddy part of your hand as like a suction cup and sort of making that seal, then the sound down there is possible. But I'd be really interested. Let's have some responses in the chat and see how those people who are playing with larger bells, so like the you know, the cons and large bore Paxmans, you know.
Yeah, and it'd be the same with the large bore Lawson horns I've just seen popped up, you know, all those large bore horns. Actually, just one thought that's just coming to me in this chat is that one of the things I also do is try and play my warm-up hand stopped first thing in the morning, just because it's a very quick way of getting everything working quite a bit faster. Even if I'm really in time pressure, is to try to do as much as my warm-up as I feel comfortable, just do it all hand stopped. And I find that actually gets all this breathing and the embouchure vibrating much faster than it would normally if I'm hand stopped.
Absolutely. And I find that you know, there'll be times when you need to practice discreetly and quietly, and you can just do it. You can do it with the sort of boucher hand stops, which isn't the edgy cuivre kind of thing, but you know, with the sort of, if you take your hand slightly further out and you round out the embouchure a little bit, you can get this quite veiled sound, and that's quite helpful actually in its moment. Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome, great.
But just I'd like to, you know, although at the very beginning of this I played some of my warm-up really, really fast, but this handwritten sheet that I put out, which which is the Farkas warm-up, obviously it's taken me 20-30 years to get this stuff really, really fast, but let's just do a bit of it slowly and I can tell you what I'm thinking about and why I'm playing it on the B flat horn. The one that's written up there first is A flat major, and people who know the Farkas warm-up will be familiar with this, which is that's just fragmenting my bit of warm up. But I play that on the B flat horn, and even though I now play it very fast, but to learning it for everybody is to make sure that as we articulate over, play over the octave and then the octave and the third and the octave and the fifth, that we are actually properly changing. We get to the right embouchure for the top note, because often, you often hear this with students who are playing. We can't get to the top note because the whole thing, they've played the 2-3 previous notes on completely the wrong embouchure, and then the jump to the top A flat, for example, is a massive bit, and they can't do it. So it's play it slowly for everybody to learn it. Play it very slowly, but make sure we are on the right embouchure for the top note that you play.
Okay, let's give it a go.
Yeah.
Just give us a demo and we'll answer you, Tim.
So I'll divide it up into 3 little bits. This is the first bit. So it's A major, A flat major. So the next bit. And then the last bit I'll divide up.
Great. So this is also along the lines of what Gail Williams was talking about last week, of this idea of expansion, and not only going up, but also making sure that if we go up, we've got to go down, and keeping this flexibility and evenness around the horn. So this is a fantastic exercise, Tim. Yeah, great. So for those of you who are interested in finding out more about Invested Musician, please check out the website, www.investedmusician.com. We have all of the replays of all of the warm-up sessions that we've done on our YouTube channel as well. And we are now open for the summer course. We have limited spots available to work with us and our incredible faculty in the summer. So if you want to set up a completely obligation-free 15-minute chat with Rupal and myself, go to the website and click on the link, make a consult for us, and we would love to have a chat with you about how we can help improve your playing and your planning and audition preparation, all these different things, mental training. Yeah. So now, Tim, are you familiar with or Jonathan, are you familiar with the elephant? Our exercise that we do? No, you haven't.
No.
This will be good. All right, I'm going to demonstrate it once, right? And then you guys get to demonstrate it for us. And
okay.
This is a tradition of the warm-up session, is that our guests have to demonstrate the elephant for us. And Tim, you're going to be disappointed with this because it's an F horn. So
no!
Yeah, I know you're gonna be. Dana just put the exercise in the chat, but don't look because that's cheating, right? And you can put your own spin on it. You guys can, but this is the fun part of the morning. So I'll give you a demonstration. I'm going to play it once, and then it's over to you guys, right? And then we in the room we have to play it exactly how Jonathan played it. All right, so.
Cool.
Okay.
You first.
Now, what? It's harder than thing. You play the F horn. You're used to playing the F horn. Come on, here we go. That's That's good.
Yeah, you know.
There you go. And now you get to do your variety, like your variation on it. This is
Hang on.
and we're gonna copy your variation.
Oh, mine would just be horrendous.
Okay, everyone. And we generally go down in semitones.
Actually, Andrew, that's actually quite. I'm thinking about that's quite a good exercise. That I think actually.
So that exercise is the Will Sanders exercise when I was studying with him in Karlsruhe, and designed to get flexibility of your airstream and coordination with your tongue, and flexibility through the range, and just using your air speed. And as you talk about, Tim, the balance of your embouchure as you head through the range.
Is that down in your warm up pack that you sent? Okay, I'll go back to that. I'll have a look at that.
Definitely.
Yeah, that'll be the objective. A lot of study for the rest of the tour. I think we'll be doing a.
It's a really good. If you're in the hotel, it's a really good way to annoy your colleagues outside. Yeah.
Actually, then the other question for you, because it's not an exercise. The name of it that is in your warm up pack. I think it's called the Remington.
Oh, that would be a Gail Williams one, I think. That's
you know how that goes.
Yeah. I think we all know how it goes.
No, I don't. I've only just started doing it. But why is it called the Remington? That's what we're all wondering about. Because Jonathan had that exercise from
Freudis.
From Freudis.
My understanding is, and in the chat, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this was from Emery Remington, who was the trombone teacher at Eastman.
Right, got it.
It's a trombone exercise that has migrated through the brass world.
Well, it's migrated to the LSO horn section because there's the two of them in particular. One of our fourth horn and our guest principal on this trip, one ex-student of mine, young Diego, who spent most of lockdown practicing that, and it's just I'm surrounded by this bloody exercise. It's in either ear. Now I'm having to learn it.
Tim said he woke up in the middle of the night hearing it the other day.
So for those of us that were in the warm-ups when Elise was here a few weeks ago, Elise is our new fourth horn. She does that, and Greg Russo, our second horn, he does that. So we end up with like dueling banjos in the orchestra, on stage. So I feel your pain, Tim, and I've started practicing it too because I didn't know it either, and I'm like, well, I've got to get with the crew, right?
It's hard, actually. It's hard. It's fun.
It's rewarding.
So thank you, Tim and Jonathan. Really appreciate you guys. It's they've just landed in the country a few days ago, and they've had a concert last night, and they have a concert in Costa Mesa tomorrow night. You have a concert tonight? No concert tonight.
No concert tonight. It's a free night. So we've got Costa Mesa tomorrow. Then we're going up to Santa Barbara for a week. We've got 5 concerts up there, or 4 or 5 concerts up there.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So yeah.
If you're in the area, check them out. It's really one of the truly great orchestras of the world, and amazing horn section. And Sir Simon Rattle is conducting these concerts. So if you have a chance to see them, it is like nothing else.
And we used to do all the Star Wars movies until Andrew came and stole them off us.
Sorry about that. Well, thanks guys. Thank you so much. I would like to stay here for another hour and chat. Maybe we can get you back for another session, and we can talk more about.
It's great. It's a great. This is all new for us. Seeing what you're doing, it's brilliant.
Fantastic. And thank you to everyone for joining us. Check us out, Invested Musician online. Great to see everyone. Next week, I have a very special surprise for everyone. So I'm not gonna tip it off, but it may be advertised later in the week. We're not sure. But we're excited to see you next week. Next week is our last warm-up session, and then we have the challenge after that. So we hope to see you all for both of those things. So thanks everybody, and we'll see you next time.